Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you are watching on YouTube, I'm also live on Facebook. So if you don't see people, or I talk about people who are in the chat that aren't here, it's because I'm broadcasting in both places at the same time. Today, I am here to talk about an upcoming course that that's been in the works for a long time, and I've had several requests to teach a beginner tarot course. And there are lots and lots and lots of tarot classes out there. You can get really cheap ones on Udemy, and there's lots of free tarot classes on YouTube and different ways and places. So many books, great resources out there. Yet still, people come back with the same questions over and over and over again. And one of those big questions is, how do you memorize those 78 cards? And how long does it take? And how long has it taken you to get where you are today? Among many other questions. So one of the things I also want to say is that I'm going to be back on tomorrow answering more and more of these kind of burning questions. That was a title that Ethany used in one of her recent videos. And so I'm also going to respond to some of the questions that came up there. For those of you that have tarot questions, if you go to my community page, there is a post there. And if you want to have your question answered tomorrow, make sure that you go there and you post your question. And I'll include it in tomorrow's live. That'll be a 6 p.m. Pacific live tomorrow night. So hello to, I gotta put my glasses on because I see a new name. G. Will, hello. Thanks for joining me. And Joseph, hello, welcome. So let's just start talking about this class and why I decided to do this class and why I'm doing it over 22 weeks. Well, 22, for those of you that read the tarot, should be pretty obvious. There's 22 cards in the major arcana. And this is not one card per week. This is a course where I am intending to integrate, to weave, to bring in signs and symbols and colors, and to look at the integration of the messages in the tarot, of all of the things I just said, the signs and the symbols and the repeating patterns in the tarot throughout each week. And so in week 1, I've put a little bit of a taster of what's going to happen in the first 4 weeks down below. In week 1 of this class, we're going to look, of course, at the Fool, at the beginnings, and we're going to look at cards that represent beginnings. And each week there's going to be a theme to help kind of tie together different parts of the tarot to make sense of it. Now, you can come into this as a complete beginner. All you need to have a tarot deck in hand, and it does not have to be a straight up RWS. Ideally, an RWS clone that's not going too far in one direction. And if you have questions about what kind of decks might be suitable, you can message me, of course, or put something in the comments below. I'd be happy to respond to that there. And then in the second week, we're going to start to look at the number 1 and what the number 1 means and how the number 1 relates to the magician. And in that week, we're going to start to have a look at the elements and what the elements, how the elements are represented in the tarot, and why it is so very, very important to understand the elements. And so this is not a class where we're going to go through and memorize one card at a time, because what I have found is this just creates disconnection, and it's almost impossible. I've never learned well by rote memorization. I need tools. I need references to help bring things together. Just let me put my glasses on and say hello to Kathleen. Welcome. And Lily B. Lily B, I think I've seen you before, but not for ages and ages. Hey there, Misty and Nancy. Essence. Hello. Welcome. So So yeah, so this is the intention for the class and how we can start to deepen our experience on a very basic level by becoming more aware of shapes, becoming more aware of repeating symbols and patterns. So, for example, in the third class, we're going to start to look at the twos. And not only are we going to look at the twos, but we're going to look at every single card that has those pillars and what those pillars might mean. And those pillars are not always pillars. Sometimes they're lighthouses. Sometimes they're posts on a fence. Sometimes they take on different shapes and sizes. And so we're going to look at those pillars and why sometimes they're black on the left and white on the right, and sometimes it's reversed. And sometimes the colors seem to make no sense at all. So we're going to look at those pillars, and those pillars also come up of course in the number 11, right? We have a 1-1. And so the intention of these 90-minute classes is every single week we're going to start to bring pieces together, and we're going to do it in baby steps. And each week there will be several cards that will be shown, but we'll go back and we'll start to build slowly and to weave. I just love the metaphor of weaving, and spider webs play a really big part. I really connect with decks that have spider webs and beehives and things like that, because this is how I have learned over the years to really find my way with the tarot. And I've been teaching quite a few. This is a beautiful, beautiful wheel card from the Lily White Tarot. I have this deck out because I want to talk about my live readings tomorrow that I'm doing. But this wheel card is one that really has so many signs and symbols. It has the cycle, the moons, the lunar cycles. It has aspects of the moon. It has all of the seasons represented. And it has those magical connections from the threads of the spider web. And so we will look at that card in seasons and cycles when we start to talk about cards that turn, right? So there'll be themes like this that are going on. Hey there, Rachel. Glad you made it. Swan Spirit, thank you. And some of you, I want to thank you for all of the lovely things that you have said in various videos. And I took little pieces of some of your comments. Swan, one of your comments is in the description box below. I hope that's okay that I shared that. And hello to Margaret. Mystics Haven. Okay, so this is a really, really good question. Is there any certification at the completion of the course? Not that it matters to me, just curious. So it's funny with tarot, right? There is no overriding international body. And what I would like to do for those of you that complete the 22 weeks is yes, to provide you with a tarot certificate, and also to provide you with some kind of a letter or a reference as well, to let people know that you have taken this course and that you have studied with me. The other thing is that if you would like a certificate, then one of the things I can do is also provide an exam at the end, and that would be optional. So for those of you that wanted a certificate, I would need to have some sort of a criteria to know that you understand the things that we have covered during this course. And so I would like to offer that as an option. So thanks for asking that, Joseph. So that definitely will be an option. And I think spending 22 weeks hanging out with me, 22 90-minute classes, you're going to feel a whole lot more comfortable with this. I also want to talk about the schedule. This is going to be on Tuesday nights Pacific time, my time. And for those of you that can't join live, I will allow people to participate by watching the playbacks. There will be some other kind of requirement though, and I will need to meet with you, and we'll have to set up some kind of a private session because there needs to be some human to human contact. So if you can't meet at that time because you're in the UK or Western Europe, I know it's a really bad time for those folks, then you'll need to let me know and I'll see what I can do to set that up for you. The class will be limited to 11 people. So I'm not going to take more than 11. And there may be a short, hello, Sarah, nice to see you. There may be a short break in July. I am going to do my best to take my equipment, my camera, my cards, and everything with me. If I do go, there's a possibility I might go away for a little bit. So I'm just putting that out there, that there might be a short break. So for the most part, it'll be 22 consecutive Tuesdays. So that's the plan. Once we get through the numbers, the major arcana, we'll be dealing 1 week with each of the elements, 1 week with each of the court cards. We'll also have a week where we talk about shuffling and rituals and invocations and how to create your own invocation to set up your space and to really feel confident and ready to do a tarot reading, because I have found that over the course of my time as a reader, setting myself up to do readings, the more I set myself up, the more I prepare my space. And now I'm quite efficient at it because I do a lot of readings. The better the readings are and the more connection there is. And when I do my live readings on Tuesdays, I have found that it just brings in this incredible magic energy and the connections, as many of you have watched my live readings, right? There's messages for everybody, and the number of repeating cards is crazy, and all of that. So I want to spend a week with the practical aspect of it, and that will come towards the end of the course. We'll also talk about etiquette and so forth, because there's a lot of important questions as far as that goes. And having that opportunity to ask me those questions and to discuss that in the live Zoom classes it's really good, because then you can express your particular situations. I know a lot of people in certain states, certain places in the world have legal issues. There's regulations about certain things, and a lot of people have questions about, I don't know, death, health readings, and so forth. So we'll spend some time talking about that too. Hey there, Kristen. Hello. Nancy, yes, this will be RWS based. This is an introductory course. So we will not be looking at the Thoth Tarot nor the Tarot de Marseille. And I will, of course, be bringing in a bit of numerology, but that is also very essential to understanding the RWS as well, too. This is entirely up to you, right? Entirely up to you whether I teach this course again or I teach this course once or twice a year. If there is sufficient interest, I will teach this at least twice a year. And for those of you that cannot pay the full amount up front, I'm happy to offer installments. That would be totally fine with me. I also have thought about whether, if there is space, I'm only going to have 11 spaces, but if for some reason the spaces don't fill up, if I would offer a drop-in, and people could drop in for a particular week. But that would be, I'm not sure about that, but it would be a little more, it would be a little bit more than the rate that people pay for the full amount. So I'm thinking the drop-in would be about $30 Canadian. So that's also kind of at the back of my head. Are there any other questions? Because I think this is a really good opportunity to, for those of you that watch the playback as well too, to put your questions in the description box below. I have taken lots and lots of tarot classes and read lots of different books, and there are so many approaches to the tarot. And I think one of the important things right now to kind of put out there to you is that I am a highly spiritual person. And I believe that my connection with things greater than I can see, I can see some of them, greater than we can fully understand, is very, very real. And a lot of tarot courses go with the approach of, yeah, just read the cards. If you can just read the cards, you can do a reading. And I completely, completely agree with that. You have to know the meaning, a basic meaning of the 78 tarot cards. That without a question, you have to know that. And so through this particular methodology of bringing in questions and weaving things together, it's a lot easier. And I will be touching on how to set yourself up and to trust your intuition and to allow things to flow through you spontaneously, because that is something that doesn't necessarily happen right from the kick of the can, but it does evolve over time. And so I will be touching on that as well too, right? So this is not a rote memory course. This is a fully integrated tarot course for people who know little or nothing about the tarot. It is not for expert tarot people, right? So people that have been reading for years and years. Of course, unless you want to look at it from somebody else's perspective. There are so many tarot teachers out there, right? And we all have a different approach and a different way of connecting with the cards. And I thought just for a second, I would talk about the word divination. Okay, so divination and fortune telling. This is another question, concern, confusion about what is the tarot and why do we use the tarot. And there's lots of different ways to use the tarot. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource. And there's lots and lots of oracles out there that we can use. And tarot is just one of many, many oracles that we can use. Hello, Candy. I will look at your comment in just a second. And the way that I view the tarot is there's a couple of different layers that I view a couple of different lenses that I view the tarot through. What is divination? I think that my definition is important. So divination, if you take that down to the root divine, is to trust in or to connect to something greater than you are. And I've already mentioned this. And so what I see the tarot doing is being a three-dimensional representation of energy. And I'm sure all of you are aware, what we put out, we receive back. And the kind of questions that we ask or the energy that we put out is somehow magically, is presented to us. It's presented to us through our partners. It's presented to us through our children, through pleasant neighbors, angry neighbors, different situations and scenarios. The world is a mirror. No matter how much you have a hard time with that, the world is a mirror, and so is the tarot. And so through these images and symbols and archetypes that are portrayed in the tarot, we can begin to see what is going on with ourselves. Now, I believe that there's a connection that is an energetic connection that helps all of this magically come together. And so when I say divination, I'm not talking about fortune telling. I don't believe the tarot is here to tell our futures. There are lots of different potential outcomes, and we have the gift of free will. We have the gift to, take different paths and move in different directions. And each one may result in a slightly different variation of our story. But the tarot is, it's not about fortune telling. So that's something about me that that you need to know in case that's what you're looking for. And I know a lot of people in my Tuesday lives do ask fortune telling kinds of questions. And if you've heard my responses to those types of questions, you'll know how I handle that. Let's go to Candy. Oh, I'm so glad, Candy, that they've been helpful. The Robin Wood is a lovely, lovely book. And Robin, the way that she shares her journey with that tarot deck is, I know I really connected with that when I was starting with my tarot journey. Robin, yeah, and mostly because of her Japanese experience too, I related to that, and it's a lovely, lovely book. Robin Wood Tarot Deck is a great deck to start with. If you don't connect with a straight up Rider-Waite-Smith clone, this one is the CS Tarot. I'm sure you've all seen, this kind of a deck. And if you don't connect with the images in the in Pixie's art. Pixie is Pamela Coleman Smith. If you don't connect with this art, you do not have to use this kind of a deck in the class. You can use any RWS clone. And if you don't know what that means, if you put into the search bar on my channel, RWS clone, there's a video where I show a whole bunch of RWS clone decks and speak to what that is. But that basically means it is a reinterpretation of Pamela's work. Sorry, we've lost focus. There we go. Okay, let's go to Kathleen. I only get into the letting spirit talk through me point if I write. Yes. So those of you that do automatic writing, that is a beautiful way to do that. You can doodle on a page or write 2 sentences and it comes. Of course, I meditate beforehand, but do you think it's unprofessional? I'm not sure what your question is, Kathleen. Do you think it's unprofessional? Can you please clarify your question? I'm not sure what you're asking me. So preparation for your readings by doodling and writing is an excellent way to prepare. I don't think that's unprofessional. I don't think it's unprofessional to doodle while you're listening to a client, because sometimes you might be doodling a shape. And what I always have a book here, and I write down your questions and I write down some of the words you say, because sometimes when I'm listening to you, if I'm doing a live reading with you and I hear you, these words, the same words come up over and over. And maybe there's a symbol that I see in my third eye and I might write that down in my notebook. So it's definitely not unprofessional to be doodling or to be writing while you're listening to your client. No better way to know our futures than to know ourselves even better. Yeah, exactly, Joseph. We need to get to know ourselves, and we can get to know ourselves through the tarot. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes in the please feel free to expand if you would like. Okay. Yeah. Basically, that's it. That's all I have to share with you today. So I am, please feel free to email me if you have any questions. And if you need to pay in installments, let me know and I will set that up for you, and I can invoice you for portions of the class, and you can pay in installments through PayPal. You don't have to pay for the whole thing at once if that is not a possibility. Okay, so I'm happy to accommodate that as well too. Tomorrow, live readings. I posted the thumbnail already. I am going to be using Lily White and Lily Black. This is the guidebook from Lily White and Lily Black, the Tarot by Celia Nelsfield. And in this guidebook, my guidebook is falling apart. She has quite a few brilliant spreads, and she credits the spreads to Claire de la Lune, whose channel I have linked in the description box for tomorrow's readings. And the spread I'm going to do tomorrow is a lotus spread. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about the I guess it's an archetype, isn't it? The archetype of the lotus and what we can learn from the metaphor and the lessons of the lotus. And then I'm going to do this 7-card spread tomorrow for a few lucky souls and answer your questions in regards to that. So if you have questions about this spread, is going to really speak to patterns or cycles that I can't get out of, or obstacles, or there may be a past life connection as well too. And so I'm going to start by just talking about the lotus and what we can learn from the metaphor of the lotus, maybe some of the mantras that give us insight into that. I might build in a few chakra associations as well too, and then I will show you what the spread is and then do several readings for those of you in the chat. So that's coming up tomorrow, and I've already posted the thumbnail, and the points for the spread are underneath in the description box. Okay, I thought I saw Candy here. Yes, Candy, hello. Lovely. I'm so glad you came by to say hello. Thank you. I have to write before I read cards directly, before like I lay them out and write. Well, I think that's really cool, Kathleen. You know, we all can't just sit down and go for it. And I think writing is a beautiful way to calm the mind. It's a beautiful way to collect yourself. And sometimes through the hands, we need to connect with spirit. You know, I'm sure some of you have different mudras and different gestures that you use when you're sitting quietly, or like the hands are pretty powerful tools. So I think that's beautiful, Kathleen. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, 7 cards. 7 cards. Sarah's been taking the just the minors class with me. And so we've been really, really working on really understanding the energy of numbers. And this spread with the number 7 also has something going on. And it's a lot of cards, right? So hey there, Marg. Hello, hello. Kathleen, you are not strange in any way. You are not strange. It's totally cool. I love it, actually. Yeah. Another way that I prepare, I have a lot of different mantras, you know, here, mostly here. Mantra is bhakti yoga, so I guess they're here. Bhakti yoga refers to devotional yoga. And I find mantra is just a beautiful way to get me dialed in. So often, sometimes I'll go in the shower or the bath, and I'll do some mantra. Sometimes I go out and I take Amber and I go for a walk before I do readings. And I love to chant mantra in the forest. And sometimes I pass people and they kind of look at me and they just like, okay, crazy lady, but you know, it's what makes me feel connected and makes me feel very connected. So yeah. So thanks for joining me today. And I am looking forward to your questions and any feedback, and let me know if there's any. I've put a lot of time and energy into planning the curriculum for this class. It's been an ongoing journey, as I have been teaching a lot of 4-week classes over the past few years, and putting together this 22-week plan and really kind of dialing it back and working with people who want to start from the foundation, start from scratch is my intention. So yeah. Anything else before I sign off? Oh, you're welcome, Nancy. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow for live readings, and stay well and be kind to one another. Namaste.